This is what my day looks like as a fractional sales consultant. Having worked with over 10 clients and made over $200,000 in my first year, there are plenty of mistakes that I made in managing my time and my productivity, and these mistakes even cost me clients. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll explain how you can get access to my client acquisition methodology that you can use to get your first or your next client and be able to properly manage them using the things I'm going to teach you in this video today. So let's talk about where my day begins. It starts in the morning in my office. Let's go check it out. Okay, now that we're here, let's talk about the types of meetings that I have on any given day. I have strategic meetings and I have training meetings. The first type being strategic, that's what I have at the top of the day. I run 6 of these a week for 30 minutes apiece, back to back on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So from 10:30 to 11, I do a 30-minute meeting with the business owner and myself, and a 30-minute meeting with the business owner, sales director, and myself. And on these meetings, we cover the most important metrics of the business, such as how much was spent in ads, how many leads did we get, how many triage/intro calls did we get, how many book sales calls did we get, how many deals closed, and how much cash was collected, and what was our return on our ad spend. Those are the numbers that we look at 3 times a week to help guide our decision making of the things we need to fix and continue to improve upon in the business. We try to benchmark and look at what our performance is versus where we would like it to be, and that's how we've continued to grow. So after the first 30 minutes with the business owner, the second 30 minutes, as I mentioned, is when our sales director comes on, and this is where we talk about the current pipeline, sales calls that are coming, sales calls that have happened, and what needs to be done to bring those deals to a close. We also talk about the team morale and staffing. People are people, they're gonna take time off for vacation, so it's clean that we have contingencies in place to make sure that we're not losing any product. But by far, the most important thing that we do in these meetings is define new projects of the work that needs to be done. Most recently, one of the biggest challenges that we were facing was with our appointment setting team. We weren't getting enough appointments booked, and our appointments weren't showing up at the rate that they used to. The root cause of this turned out there was a lack of accountability from the sales director onto the appointment setters. And so with this brought to our awareness, one of the projects that we defined for that week was me to step in and reset the expectations, not only with the sales director, but with the appointment setters directly, and enforce that there will be consequences. People aren't doing their work, at least as it's expected of them. The other thing is just to remind them of what their work is. It had been a while since they had been told, and I don't know why, but people are people. They'll almost always stop doing what's working at one point in time and change it up. And so this is something that's completely natural and is part of the managerial value that you bring as a fractional sales consultant to the business, is helping people remember what is important and what they need to stay focused on. The second portion of my day is going to be the afternoons. I also do these here in the office. And so outside of my client, I run my own business, Fractional Sales Consulting, if you haven't heard. And so usually that's when I spend most of my day focusing, building, and developing that. If we have other members in the program now who are still full-time salespeople, and so they just go about their sales job as regular, I provide access or support in Slack, answering any questions or queries that come up to me during the day. It's really not until the evenings that things get juicy again, so let's let a few hours go by and we'll pick it up again then. Okay, now it's the evening. Around 6 o'clock is when I have my final meeting of the day with the sales director. I do one of these every single day. I don't need to, but I like to, because I want my sales director to stay as sharp as possible, because he's also a closer on the account. So if he's sharp, his morale is high, his confidence is high, and he's able to give that to the team. But also I really like him personally, so it's fun and I get a lot out of those meetings. But once I finish that meeting, that's when I go into a deep work mode. So as I mentioned, everything that I assigned to myself or we uncovered in the executive meeting, I will grind out around this time. It's currently around 8 o'clock. Once that's completed, I'll load it into our implementation plan and send and respond anything that needs to be delivered into Slack with my client and the team that is there. So it's a fairly simple workload. I'm able to take care of this client while still running my own business and having time for things that are important to me, like going to the gym, going out and getting food, and going for walks, and just having headspace to enjoy my life outside of the work that I'm doing. And when I had more clients, I would actually set up my schedule a little bit differently. I would do Tuesdays and Thursdays, just dedicated deep work days. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays were just executive meetings, strategies, and training. A lot of the value that I give comes out of the judgment calls, the training, and the strategy that I give to the teams that I consult with. That's really what they're paying me for. That's what I'm great at, and that's what allows me to stay out of the sales call. However, with this client, the workload is a lot less. So if you made it this far and you're wanting to find another client maybe to try this productivity with, or your first client to start as a fractional sales consultant, well, click the link in the bio and it will take you to a page where you can get my under the radar client acquisition guide. I'll explain exactly how you can go to the market and land your first or next fractional consulting client without your boss knowing, without needing to make a bunch of noise on social media or post a ton of content. The strategy that we have there is proven and it works, and it's what all of our students are currently using to get their fractional sales consulting. Before we wrap, I want to give a little more value by explaining the mistakes, the biggest things to avoid when it comes to your client delivery as a fractional consulting client, the things that I learned the hard way. The first one is going to be managing timelines around delivery. It's so important that you give yourself time to complete projects. Don't feel like you need to impress anybody. It's important to give as much as you can, but don't corner yourself by saying you'll be able to deliver something same day when you know that you can't. 2 is preparing for your meetings. Take 5 to 15 minutes chance to actually prepare for the call with your client before you have it. Don't show up and run things on the fly. A little bit of preparation creates a higher perception of authority and value, and your clients will respect you and communicate. 3 is lead the meetings. It is so important that you actually guide the clients through the meeting structure. You're the MC, the host of everything. Don't let your client take lead by just kind of poking and asking questions. If they knew where to go, they wouldn't have hired you in the first place. So with that, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.